Life is a serious business, and if you want to live a long, flourishing life, you need to push back against death and take your future seriously. In this video, we'll explore four ways to do just that. First, we'll discuss the importance of getting serious and taking action. Then, we'll delve into the power of continuous learning and personal development. Next, we'll explore the value of discipline and the impact of small habits on achieving success. Finally, we'll talk about the importance of getting better, developing your own personal philosophy, and using all of your resources wisely. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how to handle the winters of your life and create a bright future for yourself and your family. So let's get started. Like I was saying, life is a serious business. We call it life or death. Somebody asked me one time if I had a good description of life. I said yes. I think I've got a good one. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Death seems to want to move in prematurely. If you want to live a good, long, flourishing life, you've got to push back. We're dealing with some serious matters here. So we can't just, tell the last 10 jokes and go home. We're not here to entertain. We're here to instruct and learn. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to do and get the best possible we can. Life is serious, the future is serious, and I'm asking you to take it seriously. Take your own future seriously. What you can do for your family, community, finances, future in the time allotted to you for labor, for economic care, for family, for success, for achievement, productivity, and the development of skills and creativity. Take it seriously, as this is a very serious business. So, number one was to get serious. And here's number two, get smart. Don't miss the training class. You say, well, I've already been to one of those classes, I've already heard the material. I've got a good phrase for you to take home. There's no sign you got it. Just because you've listened to those tapes one time is no sign you've got it. I'm asking you to listen to them over and over and over and to dedicate yourself to a new level of learning. Study, learn, grow, change, develop. Never let it be said that you didn't learn right. If you want to solve your problems, you've got to learn. If you want to take advantage of an opportunity, you've got to learn. And that's what these journals are for. That's what pad and pencil is for. That's what taking notes is for. See if you can increase your ability to comprehend ideas, information that can be life transforming. Don't miss the opportunity to learn. Take a good key phrase home. Use it in your training. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be casual in learning. And if you've had a bad week, just sit down and ponder that for a while. Study it. See if you can pick up some ideas from a poor week, then make a better week out of it. Learn from your own experiences. One way to learn to do it right is to do it wrong. That's one way to learn. To do it right, do it wrong. Now, the key is don't let it take too long. If you've done it wrong for a year, I suggest that's long enough. You don't need another year just to prove a point. No, 1 year is enough. Learn from your own experience. A call didn't go well? Guess what? What they did when they finished that call? They made another call. What else could we do to make it better? How could we possibly improve? This is called the possibility of life. Change starts with education, and don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in picking up the good ideas. Learning is the beginning of wealth and is the beginning of life change. And some people want to start with motivation. Here's number three, you got to get going. You got to start taking action. The disciplines are the miracle process, but here's how to get the miracle of your future going as far as disciplines are concerned. First, do what you can. You might go home and set a whole new life pace for yourself, and we call it cleaning up neglect. Should walk around the block, could walk around the block for good health, but don't walk around the block. See, you're on the wrong track. Letters you haven't written, conversations you haven't had with your family, somebody you should sit down with when you get back home. Get that job done. Don't let neglect destroy your days, destroy your life, and destroy your future. Go back and do what you can. And if you'll do what you can, then life will give you some extraordinary things to do. You've got to take care of the small disciplines before life will give you a chance to handle the more complicated disciplines. So I suggest start with the smallest of the disciplines and do not neglect them and do not disregard them as being trifling. Everything matters, everything's important. A good phrase to take home: all disciplines affect each other. Every new discipline affects all your other disciplines. If you'll get some new things going, make some steps you've never made before, step up your activity level, step up your labor level, go for the disciplines. The smallest of disciplines, the least of the disciplines, for something like as simple as keeping your accounts in order. And here's number four: get better. There aren't any of us that cannot get better. So turn on this whole idea of personal development and personal growth. That was what my mentor shared with me to change my life. And I'm telling you, for things to get better, you've got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a favorable wind. We call that naive. Don't ask for a better seed, better soil. This is the only planet you got. Just ask for what you can get wiser, stronger, and better, and to be able to take care of your own responsibilities. Get better, develop your own personal philosophy. And philosophy is the major determining factor in how your life works out. Philosophy is like the set of the sail. The same wind blows on all of us. The difference where we arrive at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, end of our life essentially is not the wind that blows, but what's going to make the major difference. That's personal philosophy. It sets the future course and the sail. Don't ask for more favorable wind. That's like wishing something that's not going to occur. Don't ask for a better seed in soil. All you got is what's available. Don't curse what you got on this planet. All we got is the seed that's here, the soil that's here, the miracle of life that's here, the opportunity that's here, the seasons that are here. That's all we've got. Whatever you've come from, whichever part of the country, the economy, that's all you got. The key is to set a better sail and turn what you've got into the miracle of your future. And another thing to remember: don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. That's the reason for listening to this, spending a couple of minutes of intense effort, taking notes, rolling up your sleeves, getting to work, committing yourself to learn so that you can get smarter for the days ahead. If you feel that you're a little bit stalled out wherever you are in your progress, I'm asking you to correct that. I'm asking you to see if you can possibly be on a more accelerated track towards your possibilities and your full development. And this is what life is all about. To become better, all that we can possibly be, the full development of all of our potential, that's number one. Number two is the wise use of all of our resources. That's what life is all about. Should have done a lot of things, but haven't. Get distracted, and all of us have these challenges. But what could I become? Being all that you can be, and not let habits drag you down, not let things sidetrack you from the full development of what you have. The capability of being what all could your heart encompass. If you had the chance, you really had the disciplines, you really got to doing it well, what could you really become? What could you earn? How healthy could you be? How many books could you read? How many books could you write? How many poems could you write? If you could do better, should you? That's not a bad question. Now, in the time allotted to labor, in the time given to economics, care for family, success, achievement, productivity, creation of value, development of skills, creativity. If you could do better, should you? I think that's one of the greatest satisfactions of living life to the fullest is doing the best you can with whatever you have. So here's one of the key questions that I'm asking you. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? What are you going to do starting tomorrow that will make a difference? Now, see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same. And when I finally discovered that the government wasn't my problem, that the price increases weren't my problem, and that it wasn't the company, and it wasn't the policies, and it wasn't my negative relatives, and it wasn't the weather, and it wasn't the economy, and it wasn't the community, when I finally discovered it was me, well, let's call that trauma first. Now, after I had passed through the trauma of discovering it was me, and not all the other things I had blamed all those years, when I finally went through the trauma, it suddenly dawned on me, hey, if it's me, I can do something about that right away. And then I started getting excited after my trauma had passed. The only change that is really going to dramatically affect your life is you. What a revelation. But once you find out it's you, that's something you can go to work on this very day. You can start to make a new stretch every day. You can start reading some books today. You can sign up for some new classes today to develop yourself. And you can start engaging in constructive thinking today. You can make some life changing decisions today. See, you don't ever have to be the same again after this discussion. And that's only going to be by choice. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and the other one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do with what happens that changes everything. And then the important thing to remember is we learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Number one, learn how to handle the winters. There are all kinds of winters. The winters when you can't figure it out, the winter when it all goes wrong, the winters of your life, social winters, political winters, economic winters that a lot of people are experiencing these days, personal winters when your heart is smashed in a thousand pieces and the nights are unusually long. It is simply called winter time. But here's what you got to do in your own personal development, your own personal growth, and that is just get better at handling the winters. You cannot change the winter, you cannot change the season, but you can change yourself. You say, well, that's what I can do about the upcoming winter of my life. The challenge that I know I'm going to face, here's what you can do: you can get wiser, stronger, and better. Just make a list of that trio of words: wiser, stronger, and better. Go home smarter than you're here now. Go home with more ideas than you came with. And second, get stronger. You can develop the muscle, you can develop the courage muscle, you can develop the inspiration muscle, you can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger. There isn't anybody out there that cannot get stronger. Next time we check, we may not recognize how strong we can get, whether that be in language, style, personality, the ability to cope with life, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what it is that happens. And the third one was get better. We can all get better. I've gotten better. First talk, I tried, I stood up, my mind sat down. But here's the secret to success: I stood up, did it again. I stood up and I did it once again. And I did it again. And I did it again with all those many years ago. I did it when I was scared. And I did it when I didn't want to do it. And I did it when I was ill, when it didn't work well, when they didn't appreciate it. And I did it a lot of times when I didn't know much what I was doing, and I just did it anyways. I got better day by day, week by week, month by month. And I'm asking you to do the same thing until you can develop a long arm and a long reach, until you can develop influence that won't quit. Touch people next year you couldn't touch this year. Touch people now you couldn't touch before. Conduct a meeting now you couldn't conduct before. Heart and soul now mixed in there. that wasn't there, that was missing before. And I'm asking all of you to get better in spite of the winters, in spite of the downturns, the money downturns, the social downturns, the personal downturns, whatever it is, just get better, just get stronger. And the key is not to wish for a better winter. The key is to wish for more strength, more wisdom, more courage to get better, wiser, and stronger. If you blame the economy, and you blame the schools, and you blame the teachers, and you blame the sermons, the preachers, and you blame the marketplace, and you blame the company and the company policy, what else is there left? When some people get through with their blame list, there is nothing else. That's all there is that we got to work with. And if you blame the only thing you've got to work with, I'm telling you, it's called mistake colossal. In not understanding that, that's all we've got to work with. And if this is all you've got to work with, then you don't change the seed, you don't change the soil, you don't change the rain, and you don't change the sunshine. You don't change the seasons, right, guys? I'll take 3 springs, 4 summers, 9 falls, and no winters. No, you cannot fool with this stuff. You've got to take it like it comes. Then what do you change to make your life work? Well, you got to start with your philosophy. My whole life took on a whole new look and color immediately once I understood that. And the early results I got from making these philosophical changes felt so good that it is almost an unstoppable thing. And I'm telling you, with a little consideration of the refinement of your sail, by setting a better sail, refining your philosophy, your whole life can start to change from today on. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next month, next year, next spring, next summer. You can start this whole process that I'm saying immediately, and I highly recommend it. Now, some people do so little thinking, they don't even have their sail up. I mean, you can imagine where they're going to wind up at the end of this week, at the end of this month, and at the end of the year. Now's the chance to change and process all of that information. So, number one is philosophy. And we've spoken about that, where we get ideas from personal experience, from people's experience. That's what it is. Philosophy, that's number one. Each person should set their own personal philosophy. And let me tell you something. Here's the definition of success and failure. Just make this note. Failure. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. A few errors in judgment repeated every day is failure. Just because disaster doesn't fall on us at the end of the first day doesn't mean disaster isn't coming. You got to be so smart that you look down the road and say, will the errors in my present judgment of philosophy going to cost me in a year, 6 months, 1 month, 5 years? I'm telling you, the money cost and the health cost and the success cost is gigantic. If you look down the road a little way and say, are there errors in my current judgment, like an apple versus a candy bar? Is that just a good illustration of some of the rest of my errors in judgment? And if it is, you got to wake up and correct it. Now, once this formula is understood, the formula for failure in errors of judgment, being lax about your own personal philosophy, and then letting it accumulate, it's called an accumulated disaster. And now here's another secret. A secret is the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day for accumulated time starts the disaster, starts the weakness. You can imagine what happens in years. Now here's a formula to success. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and you've started a whole new process called life change. A few simple disciplines practiced every day, eliminating the errors and replacing them with disciplines. You can't start the process of life change without those. You don't ever have to be the same again, except only by choice. You don't have to walk out of here the same as you walked in today. Somebody tells you, well, what did you got to go do to work on all that? The first thing I'd say is I work on my philosophy, amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before. And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. I was never the same, and I've kept or tried to keep that process all these years. One of the reasons is that I continue to hone my craft. I don't want a day to come where someone would say, "Oh, you should have heard him 5 years ago. He was really terrific." Guess what? I want people to say, "I heard him 5 years ago. You should hear him now." I'm telling you, this guy works on his craft. The man's done some extra reading. The man doesn't miss a trick. He's worked hard on himself. That's why he's able to deliver like he does. And friends, in summary, life is a serious matter, and we must approach it with dedication, discipline, and a thirst for knowledge. By taking action, learning continuously, developing good habits, and getting better at it every day for our future and for ourselves. Remember, the only change that can dramatically affect your life is you. So take responsibility for your life, make the most of your opportunities, and handle the winters of your life with strength and resilience. With these principles in mind, you can achieve success and fulfillment in all areas of your life. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the very best in your journey towards a better future.